Sarah, nice to meet you. Officially, my name is Dennis Davila from La Oficina Geek in Puerto Rico. I'm really excited to talk to you. So congratulations on this production for the two last episodes of Upload. I think they were great. I love the series. So having you directing these two episodes, I followed you from your last productions, and I know they were great. So thank you so much for doing them.
Thank you.
So you directed these two episodes, 7 and 8 of the third season of Upload. Can you share your experience of collaborating with Greg Daniels and this exceptional cast to bring this season to its conclusion?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience because I was a fan of the show from the beginning. And then coming on to the last two episodes of this season, I had to, of course, read all the scripts and know what had happened before our time together. And, when you do a finale episode, you're getting the crew and the cast when they're maybe a little tired from a long season already. And so for me, it was about injecting enthusiasm and energy and trying to problem solve because the two scripts are pretty ambitious, right? And a lot happens. And we didn't, we have a reasonable amount of time to do it, but you always feel like you don't have quite enough time. And between that, the action and the visual effects, everything has to be planned out ahead of time so that we can make sure to do it responsibly and efficiently as well as cost effective. And that's the game that we always play. But yeah, that was particularly challenging in these two finale episodes.
How was that end, the final cut, How was it? How was it with the cast? It had been an amazing season, so I'm just wondering, how was that?
You mean the very end, like in terms of them talking to Nathan?
No, I mean like what you said, the final cut while filming the last scene. How was that? How was the emotional aspect of them?
It's emotional when you work on the finale. I worked on the finale block of The Boys as well, season 3. And yeah, when you're working on the last day of shooting, it's a big deal because everyone is both exhausted and elated. And so yeah, it was emotional. And there's a big like catered lunch, at one point, and everyone's just feeling very happy. And so that gives a newfound energy to those last couple of scenes.
Yeah, awesome. You mentioned The Boys. You have an amazing career. You have worked in many productions, including, of course, The Boys that we just mentioned, For All Mankind, This Is Us, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and many, many more. What actually attracted you to the world of Upload, and how do you bring your unique directional style to this series?
So I've loved Upload since the beginning, probably because of how smart it is. It's funny, of course, but it also has this great satire of, a not so distant future, and the sort of good and bad that technology might yield for us as a society. But it's not done in a heavy-handed way. It's done with wonderful humor. So whether that's, corporate tie-ins and mergers, so you have your, Oscar Mayer Intel and your Cinnabonpedia, things like that are just throwaway moments, or whether it's, to really think about whether a self-driving car is going to become a murder death trap or whether it's going to be helpful. Always like that about this show. But its heart, it's about some characters that you grow to really care about, even some that you're, well aware are flawed, but that you still, for some reason, keep liking. So being able to join the show and the cast and crew, work with Greg Daniels was just a pleasure.
Great. Any genre or themes you haven't explored yet that you would like to do in the future?
Not that I can think of. I've actually been able to.
You have done a lot.
I feel very fortunate that I've been able to, work on very different shows and flex different kinds of muscles. And every script gives you new challenges to face. But to be able to do different combinations of humor, some really dark humor, some really gory humor, some very palatable, lighthearted humor, different types of humor, and then different types of drama, some very, interpersonal, small scale drama, and some big high stakes, we're in outer space drama.
Right. Now that you mentioned challenges, any memorable one that you had in terms of storyline or maybe the use of technology in the show?
Sure. I would say one comes to mind is that for the scene where they're in the LA restaurant and called Flesh and Blood, right? Flesh and Blood. And and they're supposed to have a tank of animals in the lot waiting area. Kind of like you have, seafood restaurants, you'll have lobsters and fish in a tank. That meant to be the joke there. And we found out somewhat just before shooting that we weren't going to be able to have live animals in any restaurant in Vancouver because of public health laws. So we quickly had to figure out whether to scrap it all together or whether to be able to do it in visual effects. And Greg really fought for us to figure it out. And so, of course, we did. And so we figured out we had to create a tank with green screen and a little stuffed animal, green piggy, little piglet. But that in the restaurant, the chef would pick up and that Robbie would be looking at. And then on a soundstage, many days later, we got these animals and filmed the exact same angles and then put into their place the little duck and the little goat and the other piglets and stuff that were there. So it was pretty crazy. It turned out to be pretty amazing and worked quite seamlessly. But at the moment that I arrived on set that day and the cinematographer and I were like, okay, we've got to do this really efficiently. Like how, and we sort of put our heads together and came up with the best ways, the best angles that we knew we could replicate on a soundstage. That's what made it typical.
I had a question. When I first saw it, I thought, is this CGI or how did they manage to pull this out? But
this guy's CGI, which would have been insane, right? CGI animals, like this is not that show, right? There are movies that have the budget for that.
Yeah, I know. It was actually really good. It was actually really good. So what's your favorite moment or scene in the episodes of season 3 for the 2 episodes that you directed? What made it special?
Look, I mean, it was a wonderful experience because I love coming to work and laughing so much. So, and that happened on any day, every single day had some amount of laughing. So that's a pleasure. I really enjoyed doing the big finale action scene and trying to sort out how to tell that story well. I'm a person who gets on set and likes to run around and act things out and sort of, bring to the crew and the cast the energy that I think the scene needs as well. So, and then of course sit back and let them do their thing. But I storyboarded that and I worked with the stunts and the visual effects to make sure that we could do it and do it responsibly. It's very challenging to do the duplication of the AI guy efficiently. Because anytime you have to actually have him in, like, his whole body in the same shot, you have to do it many, 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 many times. And it's very time consuming. So there are more shots where you have body parts, just pieces of him, and you don't see his whole face. And then we could use a different person's body who had similar body type. But you're surprised how hard it is to find that many people that have the exact same body type, including like shoulders and, exact height. When you're literally duplicating someone, it's meant to be exact match. And that's really hard to pull off with 7 different men.
I can't imagine. That's it. That's really good. Very good. So the last episode, you left us in a cliffhanger. Do we have any news for the next season? Do you have anything for us? Nothing at all.
like AI guy, right? Zip.
That's good.
Cannot say.
Good. Any final message that you want to give the audience for this season finale?
No, I think what's great about the finale and the cliffhanger is that you could really see it going either way, and either way you'll be sad, and either way will provoke something really interesting for the stories that can unfold next season.
Good. Well, Sarah, that's all what I have for you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope our path crosses again in other productions. So thank you so much. I wish you well in your career.
Thank you so much.